We're jumping right into the ancient text of Exodus chapter 22 for our Family Bible Wisdom 1189 series. Now, look, if you think ancient texts are just, dusty old rules that have zero relevance to modern life, well, you're in for a massive surprise. We're going to see exactly how this specific chapter tackles a completely universal human experience, which is what happens when our actions actually affect other people. So get comfortable, because we are unpacking some seriously rich wisdom today. Think about this for a second. What if maturity isn't just avoiding wrongdoing, but actually taking responsibility when your choices cost someone else? Let's really dive into that question, because it perfectly frames the profound truths hidden in today's source material. So often, we kind of measure our goodness by what we don't do, right? But this chapter, it totally challenges us to realize that true maturity is fundamentally about what we do when our actions inevitably cause a ripple effect that disrupts someone else's life.
Okay, to really grasp the gravity of this, we've got to set the scene. Imagine the desert wilderness. The Israelites have literally just escaped slavery, and now they are tasked with building a brand new society completely from scratch. The big picture 10 commandments, well, those have already been given. But now we're moving past that mountaintop high and getting down into the everyday, gritty situations. Like, how do neighbors actually live together without tearing each other apart in the middle of a literal desert?
We're going to look at this through our 5 lenses of meaning, and we're starting with a massive shift. We're moving from physical reality, literal ancient laws about theft, property damage, and negligence, over to a much deeper allegorical truth about interconnected lives. It's basically a transition from a super practical legal code right into an allegorical blueprint for genuine, lasting stewardship. So, looking through the literal lens, we see some highly practical laws. God is giving clear-cut rules for theft, property damage. Think of it like the ancient equivalent of a car crash, right? Like where your livestock wanders off and just completely eats your neighbor's entire crop. Or the always tricky territory of lending and borrowing. These are the strict nuts and bolts required to ensure honest living within a really tightly knit community. The crucial point of all these practical rules is actually incredibly simple. Actions have consequences, and wrongs should be made right. I mean, it sounds straightforward, right? We teach this to our kids, but the text goes a step further. It specifically points out that even if you cause a loss through sheer negligence, no malice at all, just simple carelessness, you are still totally responsible for fixing it. Absolutely no excuses. Now, moving over to the allegorical lens, Exodus 22 represents so much more than just a legal code. It's really a grand teaching on the stewardship of relationships. Our lives are just so deeply interconnected. True freedom within a society isn't just running around doing whatever you want. That freedom is only sustained when people actively care about the well-being of others and steward their relationships carefully. But hey, that brings us to a really compelling reflection. Just take a second to ponder this question. Why is taking responsibility so difficult? Like, we all know that sudden gut-level instinct to hide, deflect, or just make excuses when we break something or cause a loss, don't we? To answer this, we have to kind of transition our perspective outward, moving from our personal individual choices out to the broader societal morality that this chapter is demanding of us. And that brings us right to the moral lens. We are called to own our mistakes, make restitution, and protect the vulnerable. What's truly fascinating here is how the text inextricably links responsibility directly with compassion. It essentially insists that in a healthy, functioning community, justice for a broken tool and compassion for a broken heart have to belong right next to each other. They're a package deal. In this chapter, God specifically commands the Israelites to care for widows, orphans, foreigners, and the poor. And the moral takeaway here is incredibly powerful. Character is revealed in how we treat those who cannot repay us. Wow, that is a striking metric for maturity, isn't it? It measures our true character, not by how we treat our bosses, our leaders, or the people we're trying to impress, but by how we treat those with the absolute least power in society. Okay, let's zoom out even further to the anagogical lens. This lens looks at the ultimate overarching vision behind the text, basically building a community that literally reflects God's own heart. These ancient laws aren't just about avoiding a fine or a penalty. They point toward a future, ideal society, a place where justice is beautifully balanced with mercy, where the weak are fiercely protected, and where living with integrity is just the baseline standard for everyone. To really enforce this, the text reminds the Israelites of a pretty crucial piece of their own history. They themselves were once oppressed strangers in Egypt. Because of that shared historical pain, they must never use their newfound freedom to exploit anyone else. Ultimately, a flourishing society is one where power serves rather than exploits. That's the ultimate goal God is steering this newly formed nation toward. Let's quickly extract the top wisdom treasures from this chapter because these are gold. First, actions have consequences. Second, responsibility actively builds trust. Third, compassion protects the vulnerable. Fourth, freedom absolutely requires accountability. And finally, negligence can be just as harmful as bad intentions. Seriously, these aren't just dusty ancient rules. These are phenomenal, timeless principles we can anchor our modern lives to right now. Bringing the whole thing together is the wisdom lens, which really distills the chapter down to this one thought. We are responsible for more than we intend. Just think about that for a moment. Restitution isn't just about handing someone back a few dollars. It actively repairs broken trust. And taking responsibility, it doesn't just fix a single isolated problem. It creates long-term stability and psychological safety for literally everyone around you. So let's take all this ancient wisdom and apply it directly to our reality today. What does it look like? Well, it means owning our mistakes instead of making clever excuses. It means being super responsible with our money and anything we've borrowed, treating our employees, customers, and neighbors with absolute fairness, caring for the marginalized in our cities. These principles apply perfectly to our modern workplaces, our schools, and our own family dynamics, because our daily decisions are constantly rippling outward. I want to guide you through a few quick moments of reflection now. Ask yourself honestly, who is affected by your choices, even when you don't intend harm? Think about those hidden little areas of negligence in your daily routine, like who pays the price for your rush, your stress, or even just your simple oversight. And here is the next challenge to wrestle with. When you've caused a loss, are you willing to make things right? It is so incredibly easy to justify our actions, to blame the circumstances, or to just pretend it wasn't a big deal, right? We all do it. But true accountability, the kind that builds a flourishing, amazing life, means stepping up, dropping the excuses, and doing the hard, humbling work of repair. Consider this as well. Who are the vulnerable people in your community? Just as the ancient text commanded strict care and protection for the foreigner, the widow, and the orphan, who are the people in your sphere of influence today? Who need your protection, your advocacy, and your simple, unprompted kindness? Finally, what does restitution actually look like today? Like if you've broken trust, borrowed a neighbor's power drill and completely ruined the motor, or accidentally sent a costly email to the wrong client at work, how do you practically repair that? True restitution might be a sincere, totally excuse-free apology, replacing something broken right out of your own pocket, or fundamentally changing a destructive habit so it literally never happens again. If there is just one core wisdom statement to walk away with from this entire journey through Exodus 22, it is this. True maturity begins when we recognize that our actions affect others and we willingly take responsibility for the consequences. That realization right there, that is the real mark of growing up. And on a broader scale, just to wrap up our thoughts on the text, a just society is built not only on laws, but on people who take responsibility for one another. A list of rules can only do so much to prevent chaos. It's our active, compassionate, and accountable choices that ultimately hold a community together and allow it to truly thrive. Well, that brings us to the end of our explainer for today. Thank you so much for joining me as we unpacked the hidden depths of Exodus 22 through our 5 lenses: literal, allegorical, moral, anagogical, and wisdom. Remember, every chapter of the Bible contains incredible treasures of wisdom just waiting to be discovered. But before you go, I'm going to leave you with this final thought. If your community was built entirely on how you handled your mistakes this week, would it be a society you'd actually want to live in? Keep exploring, keep growing, and I'll see you next time.